Alright, this is the first video here. This is about a switch to war production, America mobilizing. Now, mobilization, remember from World War I, we talked about was getting people ready for the war effort. Okay? Now, in 1941, we got involved in 1940. We're not in the war yet. Congress passes the Selective Service and Training Act. This is the largest peacetime draft in U.S. history. We're building up an army. And many have actually questioned, why are we doing this? But if you remember in 1940, this is the land lease, this is the Four Freedoms, all those things like that. And so we're drawing close to England. We understand that we're going to make ourselves a possible war. We need to be ready in case. So there was a big issue of government issue. Government issue basically meant anything you were given in the military, and then they used the initial GI. And if you've ever heard the GI Joe, it now makes sense, right? Joe is a generic name, whereas GI means coming from the government, correct? Now, FDR actually had a pretty good plan in 1940. He went to these big industrial people and said, I need you to stop making airplanes and cars and start making tanks, Henry Ford, etc. And he did it through a plan called Cost Plus. Basically, the government would cover the cost of the production of something, and you would get a percentage of the profit. So it's a really a big win-win situation, and a lot of people took them up, and they're building all these warplanes and different things and stockpiling. So when they do get involved in war, everything else is so much more, they're ready. One of the other people was Henry Kaiser. Henry Kaiser revolutionized the ship, making the thing they were called Liberty ships or Victory ships. In short, in World War I, they riveted the ships together. They're going to weld them at this point. The reason is, a rivet, you knock off one, the whole boat can kind of get wonky and will sink. Whereas if it's welded, you can contain that hole and possibly even get it into a nearby port and repair it and get it back out. So that's kind of important, kind of big deal. Now, we have the War Production Board. The War Production Board is going to basically produce stuff that you need for the war. In this case, rubber or tin or anything of that matter. Okay? So they're going to produce things they need for the war, and this was an ad for rubber and showing the many uses they're going to use for it. Once you have everything produced, there was the Office of War Mobilization. They're then going to take the products that have been produced and get them to the soldiers so that they can use them in the field. How they're going to use them, okay? Lastly, propaganda is another big machine here. I really like this one. It's probably one of my favorite propaganda. This one was for a car sharing club to actually save gasoline, and you have the invisible silhouette of the ghost Hitler there. So next time you're driving along in that HUV lane, high occupancy vehicle, which means you need to have more than 2 people, I think it is now. In California, they actually write tickets for that, not here in Mississippi or Tennessee. But next time you're riding alone in one of those, just imagine a ghost Hitler popping next to you and get freaked out, okay? But propaganda was actually issued by the government, as I've said before, to get people bought into helping out with the war effort, okay? So that's the first one about mobilization.